If you use the wrong volumizing product, it could just lay your hair flat, or it could actually weigh it down, or it could just feel like you got 30 pounds of nasty product in your hair. I mean, how many times have you wasted your money on the wrong product? I've been doing hair for 30 years and I tested 5 of the most popular volumizing products on the market. And I hope that I'm gonna help you find a product that actually works. And I can tell you, some are worth the money, some maybe not so much. And one of them absolutely, oh my gosh, shocked me. There we go. And this isn't even one of them. I just wanted to get the stupid top off. This testing took me over 24 hours to complete. Wait a minute. Did the cheapest product here actually work the best? The thing is, I'm not actually a scientist, so I actually had to reach out to a friend of mine. Her dad is actually a legitimate scientist, and she has a huge passion for science. So I asked her, how do I actually perform a test like this? You know, is it complete trash? Well, this is how she responded. You might know her. Her name is Glam Girl Gabby.
So you have to keep all your variables the same. So you have your 5 mannequin heads. When you apply your volumizing product, I would use a measuring cup to measure the exact amount that you're applying. If you are also doing a volume blowout, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're using the exact same hair dryer, the exact same round brush, and that you're blowing the hair out in the exact same angle. Keep every variable as consistent as you can.
You and I need to be on the same page on something. What this is not is a hyper-scientific, overly controlled lab experiment. What it is using these products, trying to control as many of the variables as possible to give you as unbiased of an opinion as I possibly can on them. So I got 5 of the same mannequins and I cut them as close to the same haircut as I possibly could. Heads up, haircuts look like trash.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
Please do not judge my haircutting ability on these cuts. Just recognize that I'm trying to just give them some layering, some stuff, so that we could actually see how these products really function for them. Let's dive into how this is gonna work and what we're gonna cover. There are 3 factors that we're gonna be covering in this test. One of them is how well do they work? How much volume does the product actually give? 2, how long do they last? And 3 is, how do they stand up to humidity? We shampooed each head the exact same way. I used the same amount of shampoo and conditioner on each one. And we shampooed them twice to make sure to get rid of any dirt. I towel dried each head to the point that they were no longer dripping, and then I combed out any possible tangles that were there. Now I applied the exact same amount of each product. I measured the amount of the mousse products, and I counted the sprays for each of the volumizing sprays. Then I combed the products through to ensure equal distribution from roots all the way to the ends. A side note, some of the products had different use instructions, right? Some said just put it on the roots, some said use more or less. But what I found in my time as a stylist, people actually don't use enough of the volume products, and then they feel like they don't work because there just wasn't enough to give them volume. The other thing I see is that there's never real volume, true volume in hair that comes from simply root lift. There's always a need to have a bend in the hair, and that means that you're gonna require some sort of product from the midshaft through the ends to hold that bend. So I wanted to kind of almost overuse these products, use in some cases maybe more than you might consider using, and make sure that they're entirely over every hair root to end to give me the best opportunity of getting the most true volume with each one. After that, I started blow drying each head upside down to get the roots up off of the scalp. Then when they were about 80% dry, I used a round brush pulling each section directly out from the scalp to maximize the potential volume. I used the exact same brushes and same combs on every single head and every style. After that, I shook the head out, put them on the stands, and I took photos. I think it's important to mention that I didn't do any tricks to try to create volume here, and I wasn't going for like an attractive shape. What I was going for is just trying to see how much I could get these to stay off of the scalp, get some bend, and just create overall volume in the shape regardless of what it looked like. And now, in no particular order, first we have the Amika product. Now, I think this actually did a pretty good job of creating volume. You can see there's a lot of volume on the sides and a fair amount of volume on the top. All in all, in terms of its ability to create volume, I would say absolutely this gets reasonable volume. Next, we have the Caviar. Now, I'm gonna be very frank with you. The Caviar is a mousse that I actually tell people about all the time. And it's functioned really well for me as a stylist on clients. I probably recommended it to you once or twice. I don't know that it did that great a job by comparison, at least, to the Amika and some of the other products that you're about to see. It gave some volume, but I feel honestly like it could have done more. And there's actually a small part of me that feels like maybe I let you down a little bit by recommending this one and not seeing these other ones. Let's move on before I sell myself under the bus too much here. Okay, and the next we have the Color Wow. Now, this one actually gave a lot of volume. It actually was one of the ones that impressed me the most in terms of the amount of volume that it created. As you can see, there's a lot of lift on the sides. There's a fair amount of lift on the top. Keep in mind that these mannequin heads can be kind of hard to get lift on top in when you've got any length, so any lift on top is a pretty substantial amount. Next, we've got the Pureology, and this gave some reasonable volume, I would say, as well. I think there's a fair amount of volume on the sides, not as much as a couple of the others, the Amika and the Color Wow, but it did a good job. So it did create volume. The question isn't a matter of whether or not it created volume. The question is going to end up being how much volume did it create in comparison to the other products. And then there's the Tresemme. This one shocked me. What? It gave it actually a lot of volume, and oddly enough, it was one of the easiest to use my hands to put into a style, and actually looks, in my opinion, the best finish of all of them. And mind you, I approached them all the exact same way. So this one kind of turned out the best. I was not anticipating that at all, but that's not where the test ends, because a lot of products can give you volume right at the very beginning. The real question is, what's their longevity look like? How is this gonna last you throughout the day? So I decided to make this test a little bit longer, about 23 hours longer. When it comes to longevity, I personally feel what makes a product lose volume throughout the day has more to do with the oils from your hands and how much you play with it and other outside factors than it does with just the product all of a sudden losing the volume that it had. So what I did is for the first 8 hours, every hour on the hour, I went through and I worked my hands through these mannequins' hair the same way on every single mannequin head. That would allow me to deposit some of the oils from my hands through each head to get a kind of a better idea of how that oil affected the hair over time. Then I just let them rest for the next 16 hours. I decided, well, this doesn't really make sense because this isn't really what you would do at the end of a day. What you're gonna try to do is actually kind of restyle your hair. You're gonna use your hands, kind of work some more volume and shape back into it. And so that's what I did. I took one photo right after we woke up in the morning, and I took them off of their podium and shook them out a bit and then put them back and tried to use my hands to kind of style the hair back into place and slightly work a little bit more of the volume or whatever volume that I was able to work back into the shape. After I was done with all those, I had 3 photos. I had the photo of when they were originally done. I had the photo of what it looked like with me messing with their hair every hour on the hour for 8 hours and then 16 hours of rest, plus actually reshaping their hair and trying to kind of get an idea of what it would look like if you redid your hair at home after that time. This is what we ended up with. Now, the Color Wow, wow. It legitimately, I think, almost looks better after the day after we shook it out. It has, in my opinion, at least as much volume as it did. It might even have more. Now, the Caviar, not as good. It has a little bit more volume when I flipped it back up, but realistically, it lost a lot of volume in the crown on the top, kept some of the volume on the side, but not as much as it could have. Pureology, I would also say that this did a really good job of actually keeping some of the volume. My concern with this is that it lost the volume on the right side over here at the bottom. It lost some of that volume, and it didn't really enhance anymore or maintain the volume on the top. There wasn't a lot of volume on top to begin with, but it definitely didn't add to that. So it did an okay job, but it's nothing like the Color Wow. The Tresemme, again, shocked me. I never thought I would say that this drugstore product at $7 is absolutely killing it against all of these other products that are well over that price range. The end result legitimately looks almost as good as the result right after we got done. It is a little bit flatter, doesn't maintain quite as much volume, but still has some good shape. The Amika is another one that lost some volume, but with that said, still maintained a pretty fair amount. So all in all, I would say that that's a really strong result too. Okay, after that, I knew you'd want to know, how does this stuff feel in your hair? Texture's a big thing, I get it. I have a slightly biased opinion when it comes to texture and hair. As a stylist, I'm pretty used to hair having some texture, and I also recognize that if you want volume, you gotta feel something. So instead, I figured I'd bring my wife in. Okay, babe, what I need you to do is I need you to go through each of these, a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, there's no product in your hair.
Okay.
To 10 being, ew.
10.
10,
Ew.
yeah.
Ew.
Ew.
2. I'd say another 2. 1. 1 to 2. 2. Ooh, this has got a lot of volume. Maybe like a 3.
Like a 3?
Yeah.
Let me see if I would agree. I would say they all feel very similar, actually.
Yeah, they do.
So as you can see, all in all, there is some texture, but neither one of us could tell a big texture difference between any of them. So to me, are you gonna feel something in your hair? Yeah, probably. But should it be the determining factor on which one of these you pick up, or if you pick up any of them? Absolutely not. But I also know there is one more major test, and I wanted to have a little bit of fun. I need you to throw those glasses on real quick. Go into the bathroom here and
That humid.
okay, let's be honest. You all know that that's how you gauge humidity, right? No one cares about the percentage. When you walk outside and your damn glasses fog up 3 seconds after you get outside, you can't see a thing. That's humid. So I wanted to determine how these reacted under humidity. So we did put them in this bathroom and I let them sit there by themselves for 30 minutes. Now we did the same thing as before where I shook these out a little bit and I tried to kind of style them back into place somewhat to get an idea of what would happen. And this is what we found. The Amika definitely fell a little bit flatter, but it wasn't terrible. I mean, there's still some volume and shape to it. So all in all, with that much humidity for even a half an hour, I'm relatively surprised by that. I'm pretty happy with it. The color wow, definitely, again, it also lost some volume, but not too much. There's still definitely some volume there. So I'm still very happy with those results as well. Pureology, not so much. It's just all pretty flat. I mean, it flattened out on the most important part, which is up around the temple area. It just kind of got flat, almost indented on the left-hand side. Yeah. I would say that so far, it's been the least when it comes to actual humidity control. The Tresemmé, it's been doing really good in this challenge so far. I still think there is some volume there, but it's quite a bit flatter than it was. So to me, I would say if it's got a weak place, this is the Achilles heel for the Tresemme. The Caviar also fell a little bit flatter, but when you compare it to the amount of volume that it had originally, it didn't fall that much. So I would say all in all, not bad, but definitely lacks some volume. Well, now with all that said, you also have to keep in mind that there is absolutely no spray, there's no heat protectant, there's no humidity protecting products on any of these. This is just the actual volumizing product. So it would have to go to say that if you were to use some sort of anti-humidity product as well as these, then you might get very different results. But comparing apples to apples here, that gives you kind of a little bit of a better idea of what you'd expect from the way they deal with humidity. So final thoughts. If I had to rate these in order of which one gave the most volume to the least amount of volume, it'd probably go like this. Number 5 is the Caviar. Number 4 was the Pureology. Number 3, I'd say in terms of volume, was the Amika. Number 2 is what I am the most shocked by, the Tresemme. Did not see that one coming. Wow.
Wow.
Number 1, I would say, is the Color Wow. Very impressive. Now, as far as which one held their shape the best after the 24-hour period, and we've been running our hands through it, I'd have to rank them as number 5, still Caviar. And the number 4, still Pureology, which that means the Tresemme gets shifted down into 3. Number 2 actually here is the Amika. I feel like it held a little bit of more of its volume than the actual Tresemme did. Number 1, still the Color Wow. There you have it. So there are 5 of the most popular volumizing products on the market. So I'd love to hear what you think. If you tried any of them, let me know. Comment below. And otherwise, if you want to learn more, why don't you go ahead and check out this video right here. And I'll see you over there.